Hey everybody, Economic Ninja here. I am stuck in an airport, so I thought what a better way than to spend my time stuck in an airport than to talk to you. Actually I'm even hanging out with the dog station. I might need to use that little hydrant back there pretty soon. All right, so here we go. Big story about retirement systems, retirement plans. CalPers we're gonna be talking about. I've talked about CalPers for the last year and a half, and I've used them as an example because they're the nation's largest pension fund, and I've talked about the importance of almost pretending like your retirement's not gonna be there during this next crash. And I can't say that more seriously. I've been preparing for my retirement not to be there for the last 10 to 12 years, and I think other people need to start thinking like that because these pension funds are 100% tied to the stock market, to the bond market. So what do you think happens when you want to retire and all of a sudden the market's in free fall? Very serious stuff. So I've got some interesting stories. I've got two stories about CalPers, but even if you're not in CalPers, you want to listen because CalPers is the biggest, like I said, but every other pension fund is just as, or if not more vulnerable than CalPers, all right? So first off, the story is CalPers just posted this first loss since the Great Recession, okay? It just posted a $29 billion loss. Since 2009, it's the first time, okay? It was about a negative 6%. It says its first negative investment return since the Great Recession and the state pension fund said on Wednesday. At the close of its 2021-2022 fiscal year, which ended June 30th, the fund stood at 440 billion, a loss of nearly 30 billion from the previous year when CalPers reported a positive 21% return to bring the fund's total to 469. So last year it was a positive 21% return. This year, a negative 6. Big swing into the negative. They're quoted as saying, tumultuous global markets played a role in CalPers' first loss since the global financial crisis of 2009, the organization said in a news release. Now, guys, I got a little bit more stories about Russia and CalPers after this. CalPers, which provides retirement benefits to more than 2 million members, with the largest public pension fund in the U.S., reported investments in stocks dropped 13%. Fixed income investments such as bonds fell 14.5%. These public market investments make up nearly 80% of the fund. Now, I've talked to you before. We've done videos on how CalPers has taken losses on certain investments. I said, this is not going to add it up good. I did that video in the spring. And then I want to bring your attention to another story about CalPers. And again, if you're not in CalPers, this is very important for you to start realizing how your retirement, your pension fund is tied to the stock market and bond market. So if you think that we are going to have some very serious issues, then you need to realize and do something about it, all right? This story is entitled Plummeting Stocks and a Moscow Shopping Mall. CalPers is stuck with its Russia investments. It says California lawmakers turned to the state's two giant pension systems to punish Russia when the country invaded Ukraine in February, urging the funds to sell off Russian holdings. 4 months later, CalPers still holds all of its public and private investments in Russia, worth about $765 million. At the start of the invasion, they're now valued at less than $195 million. Massive loss right there. According to the figures that the system provided last week, Russia shut down its stock market on February 25th, and one day after it invaded, making it impossible for international investors to sell public equities there. It may be possible to sell private holdings, such as CalPers' stake, a giant Moscow shopping mall, but the pension system has had a hard time finding buyers. No duh. So here's the thing. I talked about this when we did a video about CalPers back in the springtime. We were using the Russia Ukraine invasion as an example. And I also did a video about China and Taiwan. And I was saying that people need to realize how much of your money is tied to these countries that have some very serious geopolitical risk right now. Plus, there's some very, so they're going to lose value there, right? And not only that, you may never recover that value because these countries are literally splitting apart from the United States right now because of the way the United States and the West has been dealing with their sanctions. There may be some investments that literally go up into smoke. Now, think about this. the stock market has seen about a 20% dip since its highs in January, right? Now, I'm just coming up with ballpark numbers. I don't got any notes and information in front of me. What if it takes more of a nosedive? Now, we already know that the baby boomers are such a massive population of people that are in the middle of retiring right now or have already retired, right? And CalPers is already running at a deficit. I've talked before about how CalPers is one example. Every other pension fund's doing the same thing, where you used to get 3% at 50 years ago, and then they said, oh, now we're gonna give 2.5% at 50, and then it changes and lowers, and that's the sign, that's one of the signs that your pension is dying. I'm gonna try and link that story that I did a couple months back at the end of this video so you guys can watch that. It's a signpost that because they offer less and less benefits as they hire more people, it's a sign that the system is broke. The pyramid that they built this thing on, just like the pyramid that's on the dollar, is not working. So they have to offer less and less to the people coming into the system. I feel quite frankly bad. I see firemen that are hired now in jobs that they have to pay more for their benefits, and they actually get less benefits when they retire. Again, it's a sign that the system's broke. Take it easy, man. People are having to register new flights, so I'm just making the most of my time with you guys. So if you think about it, now people go, what can I do? What can I do? Well, first off, the most important thing I tell people when they're going to retire is, do you own your house? It is shocking to me how many people go into retirement and do not own their home. That is such a, think about this. Let's say your home mortgage is $2,000. I see people all the time saying, I need more money for retirement. I need more money. Rather than going, you know, if they just paid off their house, they would need $2,000 less for their retirement. Now, true, they would have to be happy with where they live and maybe make some concessions there, but usually that is the last thing people think about when it comes to retirement planning. The first thing they think about is, how can I get more money, rather than how much do I really need to survive? Another thing that people are doing right now is they are starting to diversify out of stocks, out of bonds. Some people are staying in cash. Some people are moving into gold and silver. If you're interested in that, I've got links below. But again, this isn't financial advice. It has to be right for you, all right? You want to pretend, if you pretend like this retirement is a bonus and you live your life paying off your debt, purchasing assets like real estate and have rentals. People are paying you money to live in your properties that you manage for them. You're making cash flow. Then you become wealthy. Turn a side hustle into cash flow. That is the most important thing you could do right now, honestly, because you need multiple streams of income. In case one of them, like your pension system, goes bust, you have a rental making you money. You have other investments that are diversified outside of the stock market, out of the bond market, bringing you in income. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. I so just love being able to turn on the thing. I'm over here next to the dog thing. I might actually jump in and have to use that fire hydrant anyway. So I better get out of here. All right, guys, that being said, the Economic Ninja is out.